decided to do an impromptu write with me sort of thing to try and get the last words in for NaNoWriMo. This month I'm working on the Acro Contessa and I've only got my goal set at 40,000 words. And so far I'm only just over 28,500 words. So I got a lot of work to do. But before I get into work, I really wanted to show you guys this gorgeous book. Move that out of the way. Sorry, I am making a mess on the bed that I'm working on. So this is my very good friend Wendy's debut novel, and I happen to be the proofreader for the novel, and she sent me a hard copy and it arrived yesterday, and you have no idea how excited I was. I just had to show you guys the cover because it is absolutely beautiful. It's perfect. But along with the hardcover book, she also sent me this gorgeous thank you note for the work that I did, and these cool little book cards. How amazing are they? And even, guys, even the inside of the book is beautiful. Look at that gorgeous tree. And the font is so nice to look at and so nice to read. So about a month and a half ago, I pre-ordered the Ultimate Writer's Journal, which is by the Collective Hub. It is basically a book where you plan out your publishing and your editing and your writing and your goals and everything for the book that you're creating. There is tons of stuff in here that is incredibly helpful. As you can see, I am yet to fill out anything because I wanted to show you guys before I started putting in stuff that could, that could give away my book. But I'll put a link below if anyone is interested in buying this book, because I think it is going to be fantastically helpful. I've already got things that I've planned to write in there and to put in there. So now that I've shown it on camera, you can bet that I will be writing some stuff in there. So also, if you didn't know, I'm quite obsessed with outlining and everything that outlining is. And means, and I have outlined my outlines numerous times, but you've probably heard me say before that, in my opinion, all outlining methods have come from Joseph Campbell's The Hero with a Thousand Faces. So Joseph Campbell studied a whole heap of like ancient stories and things like that, and he come to realize that there was a certain set of steps that the hero went through in order to create a satisfying story, something that everyone enjoyed to read for whatever reason. And this book is basically analyzing a whole bunch of ancient stories and talking about the things that he took from all of these stories and how you can outline your own book to be just as satisfying, to follow the hero's journey. So to outline, I typically start with a basic, hero's journey sort of outlining method, and then I go further to look at the plot embryo, which Dan Harmon created from the hero's journey, and Rachel Stevens, as I've said in other videos, Rachel Stevens kind of made it popular in the AuthorTube community. And then my very good friend Emily Bourne made her own videos, which are essential. They are really, really handy, and I will link them below so that you guys can watch them as well. So from the hero's journey, I then move on to the Save the Cat method, which was originally Blake Snyder's method, but now that I have the novel version, I use this, which is obviously much more succinct and very handy. It is a fantastic book. I highly recommend it to anyone. From the Save a Cat, I compile it all into the plot heavy 3-act structure. That helps me organize my thoughts a bit better. But from there, I then put it into my own outlining method, which is a combination of all the things that I like within the outlining methods, plus a few extra bits and pieces to help stop that vague middle sort of syndrome that we all tend to get in Act 2 because it's such a massive act. So today I'm working on the Acro Contessa, and basically what I am doing is I'm using the beats from Save the Cat to organize the well, the scenes and the plot points and everything. And I made this great little thing which tells me the word counts of where I should be hitting. And no, it won't be this specific. I'm going to try my hardest not to make it this specific, but it's been helpful just to see how much I have to fit, because currently I'm at fun and games, and that's 30% of the novel. So it's a big chunk of words that I've got to fill in. So I've got to make sure that I've got enough in this section so that it doesn't get boring before we move on to the midpoint and so on and so forth. But it is the biggest beat of the Save the Cat outlining method. But this is fantastically helpful for collecting the word counts and just where you need to be and what you should have already written into your novel, especially if you're going to go by word counts consistent with your genre and with the publishing industry. And so because this is a completely new draft of the Acro Contessa, I know another one. Yes, it is, I think, the 5th outlined draft and the 3rd time writing a new draft. So what I've done is possibly given away some spoilers there, but anyway, what I've done is I've got these little note cards which I've written where everything is in the book when it comes to Save the Cat. And this is what I'll do for each different outlining method so that I know what should be there and what has happened already. Especially with the story that I've actually already written, I'm trying to compile what I have written into what I need to write. So this is incredibly helpful. But anyway, I should stop yammering on because I gotta get to work and, I gotta get to writing. And it's 8:40 right now in the morning in Australia, and I have my writing buddy beside me, which is my dog. She has to sleep as close as possible to me while I'm doing anything because I'm not giving her attention. So I'll get to writing and I'll check back in with you very soon. So it's been about an hour and 20 minutes and I've managed to write, I don't know, but I'm now at 31,585 and it's now 10 a.m. I'm also on my 2nd cup of coffee and I'm contemplating what to have for lunch. I think I might have some hoisin stir fry on rice, but we'll see. I don't know. So I'm about halfway through the fun and games section of the outline, and the main character Alia has just gotten to know basically what the characters are like, what the story characters are going to be like. But do you ever get to that point in a scene where you feel like you've added too many characters and now you keep forgetting to make one of them say something or do something, and it's like, well, why are they in the scene in the first place? But I'm happy to say with this thorough outline and now with my story stuff set out, I don't hate my story anymore, and even though I'm past 30,000 words, I'm still writing and I'm still excited to get to the future events. So I haven't hit that slump and I'm so damn happy about that. So realistically, until the end of the month, which is like it's the 28th of July now, so by the end of the month, I need to be at 40,000 words, which means I need 8,500 more, and then it'll be done. Okay, so I realized that I just said that as if I didn't particularly care that I had 8,000 words to write, and I'm not concerned because a lot of the scenes I am rewriting from the other three to five drafts currently. So, because a lot of the scenes still exist, but characters or things or people or events have changed. So I just have to alternate some of the scenes around and rewrite them all. But I have a basis, so it's easier rather than coming up with new words and coming up with new scenes. I just have to rewrite the scene. I also might get properly dressed sometime soon. I don't know, get some jeans on or get some clothes on that aren't my pajamas and a cardigan. Sometimes when you work from home, you can get stuck in a rut where you just wear your pajamas for the entire week. This sounds great when you don't wear, when you're not allowed to wear your pajamas to work. But after a while, you start thinking, well, maybe I should probably wash them or alternate clothes, or maybe one day wear a pair of jeans and actually go out into the sunshine. Because it's winter in Australia right now. but there's still sun. So I even forgot to show you guys my latest purchase. About a week and a half ago, I woke up at 4:30 in the morning after I had a nightmare about FBI agents trying to chase me down for some reason. I have no idea, but I couldn't get back to sleep. So, that was a start to my day. And so half asleep, I went onto the Officeworks website and decided, well, maybe I'll just have a look at a Kindle, because I wanted a Kindle for years, but I never had the money to buy one. So as a frivolous decision, I decided, hey, it's a great idea to buy a Kindle. So the Kindle is great because there's none of that glare or anything on the screen. It's not awful. Currently I'm reading Song of the Dryad by Natalia Lee, and I'm 2% the way through it, and I am thoroughly enjoying it. This is fantastic so far. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Pan's Labyrinth, and it's one of my favorite movies, so I am so excited to read the rest of it. So I want to discuss a topic that's been brought to my attention recently. For my next class, I had to read The Edible Woman by Margaret Atwood. This is her first piece of fiction, her debut novel, and I can't help myself. When I'm reading a book, I have to see what other people have said about the book, like their interpretation, their reviews and everything. So mostly what I heard is that people didn't like the book because it wasn't like Margaret Atwood's other stuff, like The Handmaid's Tale, of course. So they didn't like it because of that. They also didn't like it because of the narrative style. So for Act 1, everything is in the first person. And then suddenly, where is it? For Act 2, it switches to third person because of the way the character changes, which I think is a very interesting style. And then we go to part 3, which is all the way at the back here somewhere. Okay. And when the main character, Marion, finally finds out who she is, it goes back to first person again. So of course people didn't like that either. It's different to every single book that's produced these days. It's different narrative style. It's a very experimental style, but it's also quite a fun style. It's interesting. The other thing that people said and had to share their opinion about and complain about was the fact that you can say whatever you want about, about the time that it was written in and about the way that people behaved and potential behavior of men and women, but they felt like it was just a sexist representation of the time, that it had no depth, that there was nothing more than sexist male characters and submissive female characters. And now this isn't entirely true. And this is the point that I wanted to bring up, which I will be doing a video about very soon. The reason why you are not meant to like the character at the start. So Marion's very submissive and lets men, or a certain man, walk all over her. The reason why you're not supposed to potentially like them at the start or agree with them is because they have to go through a transformative journey. They have to be a certain way at the start, and then they work through the entire book, working through these issues, and break on through to the other side. Thank you, The Doors, for that reference. Anyway, they break on through, and then they become the character that they're supposed to be at the end of the book. And we care about them because we see that they've chosen to make the journey, and we've seen them go through the journey into the end. So if you read a book and you don't like the character at first, there's a reason for that. You're not supposed to necessarily adore the character at first. If you do, they're not going through a good enough transformative journey, which means the plot and the story is not in depth. So basically this book is about a woman who lives with another woman, and this woman is submissive, and she, as I said, she lets people walk all over her. She lets people just do what they want, and she puts up with it. But her roommate is the complete opposite. She's a feminist. She's a new age woman. She's a modern woman, and she, walks all over everyone else. So when Marion decides that she actually loves this man who is walking all over her, and they decide to impromptu create a wedding date and go and get married, and then suddenly they're married, and it's or preparing for marriage and preparing for their life together. It's ridiculous. And Marion starts losing her appetite. She starts seeing meat as if it were on the animal, and then eventually she starts seeing things like carrots in the same way. Like when someone's going to pick them, are they screaming and are they, dodging out of the way because they don't want to be eaten? They're a living thing. So she cannot consume anything that's living, and she has a very hard time with it. This obviously causes lots of problems in her workplace, with her friends and with herself. She starts losing weight, she starts getting sick, and she can't eat anything. It's embarrassing, and it's also very detrimental to her health. And she realizes it. She associates it with the fact that the man that she's with is trying to consume her character. He is trying to create something else out of her and trying to subdue everything that she is or that she thought she was. So she goes through this transformative journey, and eventually, at the end, she decides she can eat food again. She comes to a conclusion, a realization, and she begins eating again. But it's the journey of the story that's the most fascinating thing. It is one of the most interesting books I've ever read, and I highly recommend reading it if you enjoy the sound of it, or you want to look it up online and see the reviews for yourself and come to a certain conclusion for yourself. It's now 10:15, and I'm going to do another hour of writing until 11:15, and then see how many words I get down and check in with you then. Okay, it's been an hour since I last checked in, and it's now 11:15. It's freezing in Australia right now. I have a little bit of a sniffly nose. But I've written, now I'm up to 33,134 words. So now I only have to write, how much is that? Like nearly 7,000 words, and I will have surpassed the Camp NaNoWriMo goal of 40,000 words. So I'm very nearly there, and I really didn't think that I would make it because I decided to attempt it. I do this every time. But this time I decided to attempt it with like 2 weeks left of July, and so 2 weeks left of Camp NaNoWriMo. And I thought, I'm just gonna go for it because most of it's already written, isn't it? No, it's not. I've got to write a shitload of words. It's not as easy as I thought it was going to be. But I'm still enjoying the story, and I'm actually about to go and make some lunch and get back into it because I'm really thoroughly enjoying this. Taking a break from writing for the meantime while I do some work on my blog. This should be up by the time I post this video. So basically, if you're not aware, the hero's journey is what I believe to be where outlining pretty much started, and I did explain it at the start of the video, so I'm not going to go through it again. But if you want to know more, I will have it linked below for your perusing pleasure. So I've just been for a run, and it is now what day is it today? It's the 30th of July. I forgot to vlog for a couple of days. I was really quite busy and had a lot of work stuff going on. But I won today. I mean, really, I didn't write 40,000 words for the entire month. I compiled a lot of those words, but I wrote about, in 2 weeks, I wrote between 15,000 and 20,000 words. And that has shown me that I can write a ton when I really want to. But I'm currently consuming a packaged tom yum soup, and it's spicy. Really, really freaking spicy. Apparently it's that spicy I have to drop my phone. But anyway, so I won it, and that is so freaking cool. And I think I'm going to put up a video of productivity habits quite soon, just to let people know what keeps me productive and how I managed to write in 2 weeks 15 to 20,000 words, which I don't even know how either. It must be my dog. That's all I can think of. But so these tips might help someone else, so I might as well make a video about it just in case. But if you do want to know how I got through NaNoWriMo of 2018, I will link the vlogs below so you can watch them all. And also, there's a video of how I actually managed to win that, like what helped me win NaNoWriMo of last year. So it'll be interesting to see how my process changes this year. But yes, I won!